Good morning, Jambo, Karibuni. Apologies for a lightly late start, but we're here now. Fantastic day today. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are, especially for those logging on online on this day, 30th October 2020. This is the day that we launch the Absa Kenya Sustainability Commitment Report. Thank you for joining. We also acknowledge the Absa staff who are joining us online today, who are part of this great day and occasion. I'm Elizabeth Wangeshi Shege, CEO of Web Limited, Chairperson of Kenya Green Building Society, Vice Chairperson of the World Green Building Council Africa Regional Network. I'm really honored to be your MC today. And to help me as well is our sign language interpreter, Mr. Agre Akaranga. Welcome. Please note rules of engagement for our online audience. Please mute your microphones, turn your videos off as well. But you can engage on social media, on all the Absa Bank Kenya handles, Facebook, YouTube, and use our hashtag today. Hashtag Absa Sustainability Commitment. Please say a word of hello and tag us. For those of us here at Absa Bank HQ, I've always wanted to say that, we continue to maintain all COVID measures as issued by the Ministry of Health. So with the onset of climate change that we're living through right now, responsibility towards climate action needs all of us to act. The Sustainable Development Goals are a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. Today, Absa Bank Kenya will launch the Sustainability Commitment Report. This is leadership at its best. Publicly, transparently outlining commitments that provide an accountability framework for themselves, for us as well. So Absa Bank Kenya also wants you, their partners, their clients, stakeholders, to hold them to account and join them towards achieving the commitments that will be unveiled today. A little bit more about Absa Bank Kenya and Africanacity. We're now going to play two videos that bring Africanacity to life. Please enjoy the videos.
Africanacity is Lona Ruto recycling plastic waste into fencing poles that preserve the planet. At Absa, we love Africanacity and believe in working with you to get things done. Africanacity is Paul Kihuha turning scrap metal into affordable film equipment. At Absa, we love Africanacity and believe in working with you to get things done.
We love Africanacity, don't we? I hope you enjoyed the videos and they inspire you towards commitment to sustainability. I would now like to invite our esteemed speaker. Today we start with Caroline Dungu, Marketing and Corporate Relations Director at Absa Bank Kenya, to give us some welcome remarks. Welcome.
The Chief Guest, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Dr. Chris Kipto, Absa Bank Kenya Chief Executive Officer, Jeremy Awori, Executive Director, UN Global Compact, Judy Njino, CEO B-Lab, Ngwing Kimani, CEO Shared Value Africa Initiative, Tiki Barnard, fellow CMC members, invited guests, partners, colleagues, good morning. It is an honor to welcome all of you to this momentous occasion as we launch the Absa Sustainability Commitment Report. At a time like this last year, we embarked on a refreshed sustainability journey after signing up to the Principles for Responsible Banking and the UN Global Compact. This was followed up with a fundamental change in our business early this year, as we transitioned from Barclays to Absa. The journey to this name change was full of introspection as we sought to establish what we could do differently in order to make meaningful impact in this market. As a brand that is inspired by the people we serve, we believe in possibility and in the actions of people who always find a way to get things done. We refer to this as Africanacity, a word that speaks to our tenacious African spirit that shows up across the continent in our response to the challenges we face. We believe in creating opportunities for our customers and the communities we serve, supporting them every step of the way to make their possibilities real. It is through this lens that we introduced 4 strategic priorities, one of which is to become a force for good in the market. For us, being a force for good serves a higher purpose and goes beyond philanthropy. It entails using our expertise to enable economic progress while speaking to the hearts and minds of the people by helping them innovatively meet their ambitions. As a result, we have been intentional in contributing to various initiatives that drive sustainable economic growth, as well as support the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. As a business, we do recognize sustainability as the wind beneath the wings of any forward-looking organization and are therefore embracing it as a fundamental element of our business strategy. We continue to make significant steps on this journey, and today's launch authenticates all the efforts made so far. Our distinguished guests, you will agree that our success and the success of the communities we serve are inextricably bound together, and sustainability is the bonding agent that allows for this to happen seamlessly. The transformative role that sustainability plays cannot be gainsaid, and through this agenda, we are introducing a higher purpose for our employees and partners, improving operational efficiency while reducing costs and driving innovation in our organization, all the while impacting society positively. And this also impacts the economy and the environment. Let me say that we floored the pedal on our Force for Good agenda, sustaining significant investments in education, work readiness for the youth, internships, business support initiatives, product innovation, among others. Further to that, we have launched various initiatives, among them supplier and colleague sustainability trainings, with the aim to increase awareness on corporate sustainability and responsible business practices. We now have 76 champions within the business who underwent intensive training and are beacon lights in spreading the word on the significance of our sustainability agenda to other colleagues and to the world. Similarly, we have introduced a supplier training in partnership with Strathmore Business School, empowering 50 of our suppliers on sustainability and setting them off on their own journeys of impact. We aspire to have all our suppliers on the sustainable business path going forward. I would like to take this opportunity to also highlight our contribution to the circular economy through recycling initiatives that were brought forth by our brand transition. We have recycled e-waste, furniture, billboards, plastic, and steel waste as we look to foster responsible consumption while stimulating economic activity and reducing our carbon footprint. All our old computers and furniture are being repurposed and will be used to set up computer labs in 66 institutions, countrywide, where we also plan to conduct tree planting exercises as we hand over the labs. Billboard flexes from our rebrand have been stitched into school bags that will be donated to school-going children, while at the same time creating employment for the young people who are working on them. To emphasize on the impact the recycling initiatives potentially hold, allow me to tell you a story about Gazi women in Kwale. A group of women in Gazi's sublocation run a mangrove conservation project where they have built a boardwalk for tourists visiting the area to safely enjoy the beauty of the flora and fauna of mangrove forests. The boardwalk minimizes interference with the forest while allowing tourists to interact with and learn about what this marvel of nature brings. It has been undergoing repairs that have been done using posts made from recycled plastic from our brand transition project. These posts were supplied by Lorna Ruto of EcoPost, whose video you just watched. This beautiful story shows just how much impact one can make through embracing the circular economy, which forms a huge part of the sustainability agenda. The metal waste, on the other hand, has been used to make hands-free foot pedal hand sanitizer dispensers, which prevent the spread of COVID-19 and the transmission risk. It has also been used to make film equipment by Paul Kihuha of Protizer, who you saw also on the Africanacity video. These initiatives fill us with great pride as they speak to what we believe in as a brand. So as I conclude, I would like to say that with our new Absa brand and our renewed purpose to bringing possibilities to life for all our stakeholders, we are deliberate about providing sustainable financial solutions and facilitating economic growth. Let me end by borrowing a quote from Tony Robbins, which says that the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. Thank you for joining us today. Asanteni sana. And now I would like to welcome the Managing Director, Jeremy Awori, to come and make his opening remarks. Welcome.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm Principal Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Dr. Chris Kipto. All partners, guests, all protocols observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my distinct pleasure to host you today as we mark a great milestone that will shape the future of our business. In a special way, I would like to thank Dr. Chris Kipto for agreeing to be a part of this event and to congratulate you for your great leadership in rallying the private sector to partner with the government in this initiative to increase the national forest cover. Let me also say a big thank you to all our partners who have held our hand and walked with us on this journey, step by step. Ladies and gentlemen, historically companies have invested in corporate social responsibility, which have mostly taken the forms of philanthropic engagements. And whilst there's nothing wrong with businesses giving back to the communities within which they operate, this approach is undergoing a fundamental transformation as business increasingly realize that these efforts could be more sustainable and impactful if they became part of the core business. Today, it has become more apparent that businesses can make money by resolving deep-rooted societal, economic, and environmental challenges. Let's look at some examples. In sub-Saharan Africa, various studies indicate that by 2050, because of climate change, average rice, wheat, and maize yields will decline by up to 14%, 22%, and 5% respectively, which could result in the number of malnourished children in the region increasing to over 52 million. Increased surface temperatures are also expected to impact the production of some of our flagship cash crops, such as tea and coffee, which will be compounded by increased stress on the available water resources. In essence, agriculture and indeed our socio-economic environment as we know it today could undergo a drastic transformation in our lifetime if we don't take any action. In line with this, it is imperative for us as leaders to act today in order to safeguard not only the future of our children and our grandchildren, but also the sustainability of the businesses that we run. The solution to this lies in the principle of shared value, which advocates creating business value in a way that also creates value for both the society and the environment. In essence, businesses must reconnect company success with societal progress. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the bedrock of sustainable business development and the impetus behind commitments we are making today. Over the last 1 year, Absa Bank Kenya has embarked on a journey to embed sustainability as a strategic business principle with the objective of creating incremental shared value for all our stakeholders, both in the way we do business and the services and products we offer. As part of this journey, we have marked several milestones, among them the development of a sustainability strategy and implementation framework. Last year, we became one of the signatories of the Principles for Responsible Banking, committing to strategically align our businesses with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. We also became a signatory of the United Nations Global Compact. Now, whilst we support the implementation of all the 17 SDGs, we have selected 4 impact goals as our primary focus. And these are quality education, decent work and economic growth, reduced inequalities, and responsible consumption and production. We have identified SDG 16 on peace, justice, and strong institutions, as well as SDG 17 on partnerships for the goals as key enablers to implement and scale our impact. As we launch our sustainability commitment report today, we are committing to focus our efforts on delivering the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit in all our strategies, products, and propositions. We are taking a bold step that will inspire our innovation on social and environmental challenges in line with our commitment to be a more active force for good in the communities in which we live and operate. We are committing to mainstream sustainability as an integral part of our day-to-day course of business and not a peripheral activity. Our distinguished guests, in our sustainability commitment report, we have outlined 13 high-level commitments that will guide our strategy over the short, medium, and long term. These commitments are anchored on social, environmental, and economic tenets of sustainable development. Allow me to highlight just a few of these. Firstly, as a financial institution, we're in the business of lending, and therefore we're going to proactively increase our capital allocation and diversify our portfolio to support sectors that drive sustainable developments. These include renewable and clean energy, industries, innovation and infrastructure, as well as funding financially excluded groups, sustainable cities and communities. We will also advocate and drive responsible consumption and production within value chains. Secondly, we recognize that diversity forms the fabric of modern society, making it an asset for our business, and for that reason, we commit to increase diversity in the supply chain, focusing on women, youth, and persons who are differently abled. We believe in its ability to foster innovation and creativity while releasing unparalleled levels of productivity that impact our businesses and society. We acknowledge that we cannot meet the global goals without the involvement of young people, and are committing to continue to invest in their future through skills development with our Ready to Work program. We commit to increase the proportion of women across all levels of management and board positions in our organization. Gender diversity is a proven enabler of better financial performance. We've made progress in this area and recommit to promoting further gender diversity within the bank. We commit to empower our suppliers and create awareness on corporate sustainability and responsible business practices. As we embark on our sustainability journey, we are empowering our suppliers on driving sustainable businesses through the SDGs and the UN Global Compact principles underpinned by the shared value principle. Ladies and gentlemen, we must also be mindful of our environment and recognize that we have a responsibility to safeguard it, not just for ourselves, but also for the sake of future generations. In the famous words of the prominent environmentalist David Brower, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. In line with this, we commit to increase biodiversity and encourage environmental responsibility through planting trees. In particular, today, we are announcing a commitment to plant 10 million trees in the next 5 years. We will achieve this by working in tandem with our colleagues, customers, partners, and all our stakeholders. In conclusion, our sustainability commitment report will be available on our website from today, and we invite you to read it. Identify areas where we can partner for greater impact, and also hold us to account on the promises we are making. This is a journey we have started, and I'm confident that working together, we can make a great difference in our society. Thank you very much, and with those remarks, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the Principal Secretary, Dr. Kipto, to please make his remarks. Welcome, Dr. Thank you.
Mr. Charles Mushane, the Chairman of Absa Bank Kenya, Mr. Jeremy Awari, Managing Director, Absa Bank Kenya, the Executive Director, UN Global Impact, Ms. Judy Njino, the CEO, B-Lab, Nguyen Kimani, Teki Bernard, CEO, Shared Value Africa Initiative, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen following this webinar live, good morning. And I'm Jambo. I am delighted to join you this morning as Absa Bank launches its sustainability commitment report and the flagship project, 10 million trees and seedlings in 5 years. This is an initiative that perfectly resonates with Kenya's desire to promote responsible environmental governance and the desire to accelerate the achievement of 10% tree cover by 2022. It also links directly with my ministry's commitment to strengthen collaborative partnership with stakeholders, particularly the private sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have a responsibility to protect our environment. Absa Bank, through this initiative, is demonstrating its commitment as a responsible corporate citizen. To us in the Ministry of Environment and Forest, we see this as a recognition of the need for shared responsibility in delivery of our national environment, climate change, and forest goals. Absa Bank is already actively participating in the public-private stakeholders committee that is steering the 2 billion tree planting campaign towards the attainment of the national 10% tree cover. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry envisions a country that has a clean, healthy, safe, and sustainably managed environment and forestry. We seek to do this through promotion and facilitation of good governance in the conservation and management of environment and forest resources for equitable and sustainable development. We are therefore ready to collaborate with Absa Bank in implementing the Sustainable Development Goal number 15 on life on land that seeks to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and reverse land degradation and biodiversity loss. Your aspiration to be a carbon neutral organization by the end of 2040 also speaks volumes of your desire to contribute to both global and national climate change goals. We are encouraged to note that the corporate sector has recognized the looming threat posed by climate change. The phenomenon is not just a threat to the livelihoods of ordinary citizens, but also to businesses because it poses a real and present danger to sustainable development. It is therefore promising to note that the corporate sector, including Absa, is increasingly embracing sustainable business practices. Indeed, and as noted, aligning people, profit, and planet, now appropriately known as the triple P, bottom line, as a business strategy is good for business. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenge of unemployment among our young people remains a major threat to Kenya's development ambitions, as envisaged in our Vision 2030, our Big Four agenda, and the Sustainable Development Goals. We have seen our youth coming up with innovative solutions aimed at driving social change. Any endeavor, particularly from businesses that recognizes and promotes innovative solutions from our youth that drive social change, must be commended. I am therefore happy to note Absa Bank's efforts to empower the youth by committing to equip 1 million young women and men with the requisite employment and entrepreneurial skills under the They Are Ready to Work program by 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, going forward, I challenge Absa, Jeremy and your team on the following 3 areas. 1, we encourage you to partner with sector green enterprise accelerators such as the National Environmental Trust Fund, which is in our ministry, in support of local innovations by women and youth for environmental good. Secondly, we request you or challenge you to promote forest development by providing innovative financial products that encourage enterprises along the forest and tree value chains, particularly for women and youth. And finally, I challenge you to support the ministry's sustainable development initiatives, including the need to restore and transform degraded landscapes and contribute to sustainable development. I have seen that you embarked on the journey to embed sustainability as a strategic business principle with the objective of creating incremental shared value for your stakeholders, both in the way you do your business and the services and products that you offer. And I note that you have made very good progress in the last 1 year. And today we are seeing that you have achieved a lot of milestones in this front. First, you have been able to develop a sustainable strategy and implementation framework. You have also identified priority sustainable development goals, which you just indicated now, 6 of them, if I recall, signing up of the UN Global Compact and the principles for responsible banking to ensure that the bank plays a fundamental role in realizing the 2030 agenda. However, I would like to challenge you to say that, yes, we thank you for agreeing to support the 2 billion campaign of 10 million. We appreciate. We only challenge that please join us to make sure we do it by 2022, because whereas you have it for 5 years, it is possible to do it in 2 years so that we are together. And it is easy because I think, as I said, our scientists have actually looked at this 2 billion, and we have agreed that we could start from seeds and then seedlings. So our Kenya Forest Research Institute has gone ahead to develop capacity. And we have estimated that for all the 47 counties, each county can have 2 metric tons of seed. And that 2 metric tons of seed translates to about 45 million seedlings. And we want to do nurseries. Already the Kenya Forest Service has issued a public notice for all entities interested in doing nursery development. We encourage our youth, our women, and other stakeholders to do the tree nurseries as an enterprise. This is where we want to partner with you, Absa, by first supporting those development of nurseries, but also joining in the uptake of those nurseries. We think it is achievable if we do this between now and 2022. As we speak now, we already have 46 metric tons of seed. And so it is an area that we are very comfortable. So we therefore ask you to please collaborate with us, bring your stakeholders, your colleagues, your customers, and other partners to make sure that we join in this endeavor. In conclusion, therefore, I would like to assure you of our ministry's commitment to partner and support you in pursuit of sustainable development efforts. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my duty and pleasure to declare Absa's 2020 Sustainability Commitment Report formally launched.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you to the elite speakers today. We're going to get a bit vibrant today, moving around, because we have a lot set out for you. Together, we can definitely go further. We have seen the power of collaboration and the power of partnerships. That is also your call to action, to make sustainability at the core of your business. So if you can remember some of the words mentioned today, I would like to reiterate a few things. Africanacity has been mentioned. Force for good beyond philanthropy and hitting the pedal to the metal. Fantastic words. Does your bank even do this? This is the first time, the first financial institution to actually set out these commitments. Sustainability is the glue. We have gone through and are going through a pandemic, but it's no excuse, because with the number of trees that we have to plant, as mentioned by our PS, we have 10% tree cover to meet, 2 billion trees by 2022, and that fantastic commitment of 10 million trees in 5 years. Well done, Absa. Congratulations. We now have the opportunity to invite the PS, Dr. Chris Kipto, to come and sign their commitment with Mr. Jeremy Awori. You know, as Africans, we really like to see partnerships. We need to see things signed so that we can trust, believe, and say it actually happened. So to demonstrate SDG 17, which is partnerships to achieve the goals, the commitment will now be signed by Dr. Dr. Chris Kipto and Mr. Jeremy Awori. And as they sign, they're keeping and maintaining their social distance, as you can see, but work must continue. As we're doing this, we know that the Absa staff who are joining us online will start planting trees as well the whole of this week. After this commitment, we'd like to see you talk to us on social media as well, using the hashtag Absa Sustainability Commitment. Tell us what you're going to do, how many trees you're going to plant. Now that we have signed the commitment, I would also like us to clap. Please, a word of thank you from everyone. Thank you. You can even clap online. And it is now time to unveil the Sustainability Commitment Report. Thank you, gentlemen. We shall have now the report that's being handed over. The weight of the commitment is the size of that report you'll see. It's life size. Congratulations, Absa Bank, Kenya. That puts people, the planet, and profit at the center of business. This is, once again, the first financial institution to take this bold step and to lead in this matter. So herewith is the Sustainability Commitment Report that you can actually find online on Absa Bank Kenya's website. There you have it. It is an exciting day, I would say, for the planet, for Absa, and I'd like to also invite the leadership of Absa Bank Kenya to come on board and be part of this amazing, amazing launch. In their hands, they'll have the smaller copies, but still have the 13 commitments You've heard about it. 4 main SDGs, 2 others including SDG 16, SDG 17. The document is available online. Please read it, go through it, use it. And I've also got a few comments from social media. Thank you very much for engaging with us. A fantastic comment here that gives us a lot of inspiration. Mr. Kennedy Tambo. Great work, Absa Kenya Limited. This is another first, smart and exemplary move, setting good example in the financial sector. We hope the rest can follow. At such an opportune time in the country when others are taking it slow, you're taking a big, bold step forward. Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, a round of applause. This is a huge feat for Kenya. It's a huge feat for the region. It's a huge feat for the financial sector. So we've just witnessed a paradigm shift in climatic action. And we now shift gears to encourage all of us further. It's not just Absa Bank Kenya, it's the rest of us. In this decade of action in implementing the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the Sustainability Commitment Report highlights have been captured in the ensuing video. It is not an excuse not to read, digest, and use the report, but a pledge to have sustainability at the core of business for people, planet, and profit. Please take a few notes as you watch and enjoy the video. Thank you.
Unlike in the past, when businesses mostly cared about getting more customers and returning a bigger profit, the paradigm has shifted. Today, we face a big challenge as leaders: to do business in a way that, while driving profitability, also resolves fundamental societal needs and safeguards the future of our planet. The world over, communities are grappling with issues that are a serious threat to future generations, ranging from slowing economies, high unemployment, healthcare challenges, environmental degradation, among others. As business leaders, we have the responsibility to come together to try and solve these business and societal challenges.
Sustainability must be right at the heart of all futuristic business strategies. In essence, we must start to create a direct connection between business success and social progress.
That is the commitment we are making at Absa. We are pledging to focus our efforts on the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit in all our strategies and in the way we do business.
With the launch of our Sustainability Commitment Report, we see this as a bold step that will inspire our innovation on social and environmental challenges in line with our commitment to be a more active force for good in the communities where we operate.
We are entrenching sustainability as an integral part of our business and not just a peripheral work stream.
Last year, we became one of the signatories of the Principles for Responsible Banking, committing to strategically align our business with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. We also became a signatory to the United Nations Global Compact. Whilst we support the implementation of all the 17 SDGs, we have selected 4 high-impact goals as our primary focus, namely quality education, decent work and economic growth, reduced inequalities, and responsible consumption and production.
We see SDG 16 on peace, justice, and strong institutions, and SDG 17 on partnership for the goals as key enablers to implement and scale our impact on the goals we have prioritized.
In our Sustainability Commitment Report, we have outlined 13 high-level commitments that will guide our strategy over the short, medium, and long term. These commitments are anchored on the social, environmental, and economic tenets of sustainable development. I want to take this opportunity to highlight some of these commitments. Firstly, as a financial institution, we are in the business of lending, and therefore we are going to proactively increase our capital allocation and diversify our portfolio to support sectors that drive sustainable developments. These include renewable and clean energy industries, innovation and infrastructure, as well as funding financially excluded groups, sustainable cities and communities. We will also advocate and drive responsible consumption and production within value chains.
Secondly, we commit to increase diversity in the supply chain, focusing on women, youth, and persons who are differently abled. Diversity forms a fabric of modern society, making it an asset for our business. We believe in its ability to foster innovation, creativity, while releasing unparalleled levels of productivity that impact our business and society.
We acknowledge that we cannot meet these global goals without the involvement of young people. We're committing to continue investing in their future through skills development with our Ready to Work program. We commit to increase the proportion of women across all levels of management and board positions in our organization. Gender diversity is a proven enabler of better financial performance. We have made progress in this area and recommit to promoting further gender diversity within the bank. Passionate about our environment, we commit to increase biodiversity and encourage environmental responsibility through planting trees. We are in addition pledging to plant 10 million trees in the next 5 years.
We commit to empower suppliers and create awareness on corporate sustainability and responsible business practices. As we embark on our sustainability journey, we are empowering our suppliers on driving sustainable businesses through the SDGs, the UN Global Compact principles, underpinned by the shared value concept.
We're keen to leave no one behind and have every confidence in the ability to create, protect, and grow long-term environmental, social, and economic value for all. By publicly announcing these commitments, we're providing an accountability framework for ourselves as we work towards these far-reaching goals. This is the beginning of a journey, one that we would want to walk with all our colleagues, customers, partners, and all other stakeholders. The issues we seek to address are complex and call for different actors across sectors and industries to collaborate and to partner. So in many ways, this is an invitation to all our partners and stakeholders to join us on this exciting journey, and together we shall make a difference.
Fantastic, fantastic messages today. We now move on to the panel discussion on the business case for sustainability. This will be moderated by Mr. Martin Bayer, faculty and researcher at Strathmore University Business School. Over to you, Mr. Bayer.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, and thank you for this opportunity, Absa, for what we hope will be a really engaging conversation. With me today, I have a panel, and I'll introduce them briefly, and we shall hear from them for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour. To my extreme left, I have Moses Muthui, who's the Country Strategy Director for Absa here in Kenya. Karibu sana, Moses. We also have Ms. Judy Njino, seated to my immediate left. Judy is the Executive Director, Global Compact Network in Kenya, and she's also the current chair of the UN Global Compact Africa Regional Network. She's been in this leadership role since April 2013 and is quite well connected not only in Kenya but across the African continent and the world on matters sustainability. Karibu sana, Judy. Next to Judy is Ms. Ngwing Kimani. She's the Executive Director, B-Lab East Africa. And this is a not-for-profit organization that supports, promotes, and certifies for-profit companies using the business as a force for good. We're going to hear from Ngwing what B-Lab East Africa is all about and what it does. She's also the founder of Lation Wealth Management Services Limited, a firm she founded in 2009 and served as CEO for a stretch. Karibu sana, Ngwing. Finally, we have Tiki Bernard. Tiki is joining us all the way from South Africa. Welcome, Tiki. How are you? Tiki is the founder and CEO of Shift Impact Africa, as well as the Shared Africa Value Initiative. She has a passion for shared value business as a concept and is all about connecting company success to social progress. Tiki will give us an opportunity to learn a little bit more about that. So panel, welcome, and we look forward to an engaging conversation over the next 45 minutes to 1 hour. To set the stage, this morning we've heard from the Managing Director of Absa in his keynote remarks, as well as the Principal Secretary, Environment and Forestry. And both of them have spoken about this nexus that exists between the private sector and the public sector. What's going on out in industry, what's happening in the economy. And I hope as a panel you'll help us to unpack that. Our audience represents SMEs, shareholders, and various actors who want to understand what sustainability is all about. And I want to start with a round of questions, asking each of you to introduce yourselves. Moses, I want to start with you. Our theme is business case for responsible business, and I really want us to unpack that. So I'll emphasize two things, sustainability and practicality. By the end of this session, those who are following us from around the world, what do they understand from the word sustainability, and how do we make it practical and implementable? And I'll throw out a few phrases. SDGs, I had the Principal Secretary and the Managing Director mention that. Creating shared value. Tiki, out in South Africa, your effort has this phrase, CSV. CSR, Jeremy alluded to it, and Moses, I think as part of your strategic efforts, you probably have corporate social responsibility somewhere there. Philanthropy, I don't know if you give money, if you have a foundation. Judy Nguyen, I don't know if you've engaged in aspects of that. And then finally, social impact. So allow me to use all those phrases and distill them into one word, sustainability. And the first question to you, Moses, I'd like you to introduce yourself personally and your organization. I'll give each of you 3 minutes. What does sustainability mean to you, both from a personal context and an organizational context? Moses.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks, Martin, and glad to be here. And thank you, Judy, Gwyn, and TK for joining us for this conversation. So I think, Martin, look, for me, as I think about sustainability, I reflect on the society we live in today. And we are very much part of that society, where, you know, at the end of every day, you often get asked the question, what did you bring? Not so much, what did you do? And for me, the essence of sustainability is answering deeply that question of what did you do? And these things are not mutually exclusive. What you bring and what you do, doing well and doing good, can coexist. And so at a personal level, I think there's that element of stewardship, that, you know, you leave spaces better than you found them. And as much as you answer the question of what did you bring, you must deeply answer the question of what did you do? But I think what's most important really is what sustainability means to us as a financial services group, as Absa Group and Absa Kenya Bank PLC. And for us is the realization that we are in an essential business. We offer financial services and products, and they're not very unique. Anyone can copy financial services and products. So what's important is not offering more of what we do, is actually how we do it and how we make people feel. And it's within that instinct of how we make people feel that we crafted our purpose, which is to bring possibilities to life. Which simplistically, to us as a business, says to us, you know, we exist not to profit from people, or not to profiteer from people, but to profit with people. That when we think about our business long term, it can only be sustainable if we lead with purpose. And I know, you know, possibilities is a broad word, but everyone needs to be acknowledged for who they are and what they do, and they need to be supported for what they're up to, and they need to be helped to achieve their aspirations. So bringing possibilities to life is at the center of our strategy, and that's where we find our purpose, and that's where we find the meaning of the words you've thrown out: shared value, CSR, philanthropy, and I'm hoping to unpack some of those as we go.
Okay, thank you very much. You've mentioned two key words, purpose, and Tiki, I'll come back to you a little bit later to unpack that for us. And you've talked about your strategy. Jeremy earlier in his remarks talked about SDG 4, SDG 8, SDG 10 and SDG 12. In the next round of questioning, I'll try and unpack that. But let me come to Judy. sustainability and SDGs. There are businesses out there that are just hearing numbers and phrases associated with these numbers. Is there some structure or an approach we can use, framework, to understand what these numbers mean and why do we care about them? What does sustainability mean to you?
Thank you, Martin, and thank you to the Absa team under the leadership of Jeremy. And I have to start off by applauding them for taking this very important and bold step in making this commitment to sustainability and making it publicly. It's really not a small step for those of us who are working in this sustainability space. At the United Nations Global Compact, which is the world's largest voluntary corporate sustainability initiative, we call on companies everywhere to align their business strategies and their operations with universal principles. And these principles really are, codified around 10 key issue areas summarized under human rights, environment, labor, and anti-corruption. But we are also calling on the private sector to look at the Sustainable Development Goals as a framework upon which they can advance their own business goals while also addressing the world's most pressing challenges. So for us, sustainability really is about acknowledging as a private sector that you are an integral actor in an ecosystem, and that everything that happens in that ecosystem, whether positive or negative, you have a direct responsibility and a moral responsibility to ensure that you are actually adding value, and at the very least that you're minimizing any negative impacts that you may have. So at the Global Compact, we are working with close to 10,000 companies and growing across the world, and helping them to understand what their responsibility is beyond pursuing the bottom line, but looking at the greater value that they can add both to the environment, the social and governance space. And of course, as I said, looking at the SDGs as the greatest blueprint and business plan that they can have to really advance their own business goals. So we look forward to supporting Absa in this journey, and also other corporates that are out there, appreciating that the grave challenges that we have within the development agenda, that we cannot sort all these issues just with individual corporate action, but we need the full weight of the private sector around these issues. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Judy. And if I could summarize what I heard, there are these social challenges. These social challenges are captured in the SDGs. I hear there are 17 of them. And then you've also talked of a set of principles, 10 of them broken into 3 categories. And therefore, 3 or 4? 4 categories. Yeah. And therefore, companies like Absa have chosen to identify a subset of these 17 goals, which I'm assuming align very well with these 10 principles in these 4 categories. And they have chosen to go down a journey where they will implement those principles. And it sounds like what we were hearing earlier today, tree planting and the circular economy, all those are associated with the goals. Yeah. Good. That makes an interesting transition. And let's hear from Ngwing. So at B-Lab, you are also a network, I want to assume, and you also connect businesses to the kind of purpose that Moses has alluded to, which can be broken down into goals and principles, as Judy has also alluded to. What does sustainability mean to you? And how do you make this very practical, moving from Moses' world of strategy to Judy's world of goals and principles? Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Martin. I would say I am privileged to work for an organization that embodies the values that I live as a person, because at B-Lab, we are really about transforming the global economy to benefit all people, communities, as well as the planet. And the way we do this is by creating standards. So we have standards that we have created, and we advocate for policies, as well as we create tools that we allow businesses to use free of charge to measure their impact and help them along this journey of sustainability. In addition to that, we certify companies who have taken the bold step, like Absa has done today, to make a commitment we certify them and we call them B Corps, and really we encourage them to lead the way in this journey. As Judy had mentioned, is that the private sector has to work collectively. Individual businesses can't do it by themselves. So to date, around the world, we are about 3,500 certified B Corps. And then we are in over 70 countries across 150 industries. We have over 8,000 benefit corporations. We moved into operations in Africa in 2017, so we've been here for about 3 years, and already we have 48 companies who are certified B corporations. We have over 800 companies using our tools to measure their impact, and we work with several organizations that touch businesses in the private sector. And so sustainability really for us is what's the impact you as a business are having on the society as a whole and on the environment. And when we think about society as a whole, we are thinking about your workers in your organization, the communities in which you work, also your customers, your suppliers as well. So we look at the entire business ecosystem and ensure that even as you're making a commitment to sustainability, you're also considering your governance as an organization, because you know that organizations grow, they change, they merge, and you want to make sure that you're structured in a way that whoever you merge with in the future, or even if your organization changes hands, those structural steps that you have put in place will ensure that that organization maintains its focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ngwing. So we've moved from Moses' world of strategy and purpose to Judy's world of principles and goals to what I'll call Ngwing's world of certification, policies, standards, and tools. So we are breaking it down gradually. Which makes a good transition to Tiki. Tiki, I hope we still have you with us from Johannesburg. Tiki, there's this phrase we've had being used several times, creating shared value, CSV. I've used the phrase SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals, and we've talked about the Global Compact and the principles. Tell us a little bit about creating shared value. What does it have to do with SDGs? What does sustainability mean for you, or mean to you, Tiki?
Good morning, Martin, and good morning to everybody that's part of this really, really great occasion today. So I think Jeremy said it right in the beginning when he said creating shared value is about creating economic value as an organization and creating value for society and for the environment. So just a little bit on creating shared value. Martin, you and I are quite familiar with it, but for those that are not, it's a business management concept that was developed by Harvard business professors and world-renowned economists Michael Porter and Mark Kramer. And the Shared Value Africa Initiative, us, is a member-based organization, and I'm very happy this morning to say that Absa is very much part of our community. We are a Pan-Africa organization, the regional Shared Value Initiative that was started by Michael.
Okay, I think we may have lost Tiki there briefly. I think Tiki was talking about creating shared value being a concept that was introduced by Michael Porter, and we actually work closely with Tiki at Strathmore University. I'll come back to you, Tiki. Let me transition to Moses as we try and recover the connection. Moses, Tiki has talked about economic value, social value, and the environment. And it's this idea that you can actually pursue profit. I think you used that phrase profitability at some point, while still tackling challenges that are social in nature or environmental in nature. I'd like you to highlight different ways that you're working with the partners we see here. And I'll volunteer. We at Strathmore have really benefited from a partnership with yourselves, Absa, trying to empower our students and our extended networks in different ways that they can think about impacting the society through your supply chain. So there are principles you're working on as a company that we teach in our classes. How are you working with some of the colleagues who are here. Tiki just mentioned you're one of their key partners.
No, thanks. Yeah, so I think at the group level, we actually are members to the Shared Value Africa initiative that TK very ably leads. And, you know, we learn from what they do. They inspire how we think about sustainability within the company. But what I'd like to say at the very start of your question, Martin, is we cannot do it alone. You know, collaboration is the new leadership, as I've heard lately. It's no longer the times where we were masters of everything. So you've got to allow space for people to come and help you and partner with you in pursuing not just sustainability, but more broadly, you know, strategic goals. Whilst we must compete for shareholder value, and that's why different shareholders look for different companies, we must collaborate for purpose. It's just it's a no-brainer. And so just more specifically, as you said, Strathmore has worked with us closely to train our suppliers. We think about those around us, how we can create impact very close to home. We pay about 4 billion shillings a year to suppliers. 90% of that is to local suppliers. And we've partnered with yourselves to just bring our suppliers along this journey. And you find it in the report, the commitment we've made by the end of next year to make sure that our entire supplier base is signatory to the UN Global Compact. And that's where Judy's World comes in. We became signatories not so long ago. And we need to seek out for people who develop and set the standards for the rest of us to follow. Remember, this is not our core business. This is not our core competency. And we must also publicly seek to be held accountable by the likes of the UN Global Compact, signing to the principles of responsible banking. And I think lastly is we've partnered also to make sure we have people internally who inspire the change we seek. And Amani Institute, who you may know, have trained 80 of our colleagues to be sustainability champions. That means 1 in every 30 people who work for Absa Kenya is a sustainability champion, inspiring the change we need to see in the organization. And these are steps from, you know, skills development to direct impact to societies to thought leadership. We must seek out to partner with people, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Judy, you've been mentioned by Moses, and thank you for that elaboration, Moses. There's a training program we're undertaking in partnership with Absa, and it impacts their supply chain. Judy, I'm proud to note that Strathmore has collaborated with the UN Global Compact for many, many years. And in fact, one of our flagship programs, the Africa Sustainability Executive Program, aspects of it were actually informed by thinking that you brought to the table. And aspects of that are also informing this particular course. Can you say a little bit more about different ways you partner with various actors? And going a little bit later, I'll come and listen to how you work in supporting youth and making them ready for jobs. But let's hear from Judy first.
Yes, thank you, Martin. So at the UN Global Compact, at the heart of our work really is that we are a multi-stakeholder platform where we acknowledge that even just the private sector alone, with all the resources, with all the competencies, and with all the good innovations that they bring on board, they themselves alone cannot do it. We've seen in the past that there was a lot of reliance on the government as the key drivers of economic development. But I think quickly we realized that governments also by themselves cannot do it, you know, alone. And so we bring the full weight of the entire ecosystem, governments, civil society, academia, as you mentioned, Strathmore, as yourselves, as members of the Global Compact, and the private sector, to work collectively to help really advance, you know, the sustainable development agenda, ensuring that as businesses prosper, that also the society and the environment also prospers alongside them. So for us, we take collaborations, you know, as a key factor in the success of the work that we do at the Global Compact. You know, Absa has been a signatory since October of 2019, and I have to admit that they've become really one of the corporate organizations in Kenya and in the region that are really actively engaged in ensuring that they translate their commitments to the UN Global Compact into concrete action. And I think today's event is really a testament to that ambition. And tied to that, we are working with them quite closely on a number of impact initiatives, what we are calling global impact initiatives, to see how we can help them push the needle around sustainability. So it's good to have commitments, it's good to have aspirations, but the level at which we need private sector to act and to step up really has to be at a new dimension and at a new level, because when we look at the SDGs and the challenges that are presented therein, and only 10 years to go, I think the current pace that we are taking and the current action, it's not enough. We need transformative action from the private sector, and that's why we have also Absa signed up to our target gender equality as one of the programs where they have committed to set ambitious targets to ensure that they have concrete and high-level representation of women across all levels of business. So we are really helping them to push the needle and to really see the extent to which they can look at their own business model and ensure that they are growing an inclusive business at that. They've also signed up to the Young SDG Innovators Program, which is one of our most promising programs that we've rolled out globally and in the continent. And we are looking forward to working with the best talent within Absa. And these are young people, to help them understand that sustainability is a mindset. It's also about innovating around the key issues that the business focuses on, but also in a way that also delivers on the sustainable development goals. So we believe that there are real market opportunities within the SDGs, and that Absa, through the Young SDG Innovators Program, they will be able to advance while also ensuring that that leadership commitment cascades down within the business and to the entire workforce. Thank you.
Are you doing anything with BILA or the Shared
Yes,
Value Africa
and I
Initiative?
think I wanted to leave Ngwing to speak about our great partnership around the SDG Action Manager.
Great.
Working very closely with them as well.
Good, which is a good segue. So Ngwing, there are various partners here. Are you doing anything with BILAB? I think Judy has alluded to that. Are you doing anything with Absa or planning to? Are you working on as an organization with Strathmore and also the Shared Value Africa Initiative?
Thanks, Martin. Like I said earlier, we really work in collaboration with the ecosystem. To start with, I'll start with the SDG Action Manager, which was co-developed by the UN Global Compact and BILAB. And what the SDG Action Manager is, it's a tool that allows businesses to measure their baseline, where they are in terms of their sustainability journey, and then pick one of the SDG goals, or 2 or 3 or 4, that they target, that align with their business, that they can work towards, and then measure their progress as they go through the sustainability journey. So such that it is not just you make a commitment and then figure it out yourself. The tool helps you, gives you pointers, what to think about, what to do, how to implement things. So you kind of have that guide that you walk along with. So we co-developed it with the UN Global Compact, and it is also part of the Absa Suppliers Training Program that we are doing in collaboration with Strathmore. Because as they go through the course, learning about the UN principles, learning about how to have shared value, learning about the Sustainable Development Goals. At the end of the course, they have the SDG Action Manager tool that says, okay, now you've learned all these things, here is your next step, right? In addition to that, we are training Strathmore interns on sustainability also, so that as they come up into the workforce, they can have that sustainability lens as they are intrapreneurs in organizations, or they decide to be entrepreneurs by themselves. They will have that in mind in how they're aligning themselves with the Sustainable Development Goals. Like Judy said, in the beginning, all these goals, the SDGs, the MDGs, we have always thought about it as a government initiative. It's time for us as the private sector to play our part and say, okay, so government is working towards this. How can we, as the private sector, join hands together and work with government towards attaining these goals? There's another project we are working in. It's a partnership with Strathmore, their ISB program, where we are also training those entrepreneurs on how to use the SDG Action Manager to measure their goals.
Okay. Thank you very much. And those are very practical examples. Moses, when I come back to you for the last round of questions and the closing remarks, I'll ask you to connect some of these dots. I don't know if we have Tiki with us again. We started this line of discussion because of a point, Tiki, you had raised. You were talking about Michael Porter. You were talking about this idea of economic value, social value, and thinking about the environment. You can finish the thought you had earlier, but also tackle this particular question I'm asking about partnerships. And Tiki, if I can actually contextualize to last year, 2019, Jeremy, as Managing Director, Absa, in his keynote remarks and in some of the conversations on the sidelines of the Africa Shared Value Summit that happened right here in Kenya at the Radisson Blu Hotel, I remember he spoke about the Big Four agenda and how working towards tackling some of the targets, social challenges, is a way of linking social problems as a process that involves creating economic value. Tiki, you might be able to remember aspects of that. Moses, I'll ask you to speak to aspects of that. We had the Principal Secretary bringing aspects of that up earlier. So Tiki, just finish your earlier thought and also talk about some of the challenges that were raised during the Africa Shared Value Summit, where Absa was a strategic partner, and some of the ideas we are discussing now, I think, were touched on in that session. Over to you, Tiki.
Thank you, Martin. I wanted to demonstrate from a shared value perspective how Absa is actually creating shared value, and that's what I wanted to get to. So through this sustainability commitment report that Absa is creating, they will create more advance Absa's competitiveness. And in doing so, they will advance the economic and social conditions in the community operate. And that value and shared value is about sustainability. It's about responsible business. It's about inclusion. It's about access. It's about profit. It's about supply chain. It's about value chain. It's about the environment. But most of all, it is about the people. So in last year's Shared Value Summit that we had, the Africa Shared Value Leadership Summit in Nairobi, I think when we talk about the 4 pillars, one of the things I just want to go back to is what Bob Collymore from Safaricom said at that.
Okay, Tiki, we might be losing you again. And I think you're talking about the 4 pillars that Bob Collymore had alluded to. We'll still be able to build on that earlier. I'd also taken part in that event. Bob Collymore spoke very passionately, Moses, about purpose, the exact point you've talked about, and this idea that for Absa, your purpose is bringing possibilities to life. Tiki, if we still have you, I'll have you build on that point. If I use that as a segue, Moses, we've talked about goals and strategy. Then we've moved to goals and principles. Actually, purpose and strategy, and then goals and principles. Then we've talked about tools. We've talked about certification, standards, and policies. And we've discussed how all these are interconnected. We're actually an ecosystem, and it sounds to me from this conversation, we are all nodes that are part of a larger ecosystem. We've got businesses out there that want to be part of your supply chain. They want to be your suppliers. We've got customers out there who represent your potential market. They want to bank with you. I've heard that you are very purpose-driven. Allow me to use that phrase. You have a purpose bringing possibilities to life. Can you help unpack this idea of a business case for sustainability? Yeah. This company is seeking to partner with you. This shareholders seeking to invest in you. This suppliers seeking to be part of your chain, and Tiki has also talked of value chains when you think of the product. What's the business case for sustainability?
Yeah. So I think there are questions that we must all ask, and they're worth asking. And the questions are, as businesses, that is, you know, why should we matter? You know, why do we really matter? How do we make people feel? You know, how would people describe us? And where is our true value? Is the true value in the profits we make, or the shareholder value as a word that we pursue, or is our true value in people and how people value us? So I think these are very pertinent questions we must deeply ask as organizations. I think I'll pull back, then I'll come back to answer your question specifically to just talk about financial institutions and us as a bank within that context that I've just laid out. And one thing you could see as a common denominator across all these SDGs is there's finance behind it. Finance can be an enabler for social good or an enabler for social challenges. Whether it's the water we are drinking is financed, or the lights we're using is financed, or how we came here, whether we drove, that's financed. So financial institutions have got this privileged position that actually underpins how we drive either social good or enable social challenges. And I think at the center of that is where we see our purpose coming to life. And not so much veering off from our business, but doing our business in a way that enables social good. People like to say finance is the oxygen to commerce, but actually finance is the oxygen to sustainability. When you think about SDG 4, economic growth, and you're a bank or a financial institution that is lending towards sectors of the economy, you're actually directly impacting how sustainable that growth is. When you think about reducing inequalities, who you finance, where you get capital, how you apply the capital, could either reduce or widen inequality. When you think about clean energy and sustainable consumption and production, whether you finance green initiatives or finance non-green initiatives. So I think collectively as financial institutions, not just as Absa, we must always acknowledge the privileged position we have to directly influence sustainability. And in doing so, we must find our purpose in doing so. I think you asked a question about specifically what should customers and suppliers and businesses seek to do.
And if you can add into that also SMEs, we have a large informal sector that's following this session.
Absolutely. It's a very difficult one when at the end of every day, every quarter, every year, shareholders are waiting to see the value you created for them. And actually, CEOs and managers and companies, stewards, are let go often, almost always, because of not meeting profitability and shareholder value, then creating shared value. It's a very difficult thing to say. It's not going to be easy. But I think the realization that, like when you think about the SME sector, and you think about what has happened with COVID, and we have to swing the power from making profits to give moratoriums to small businesses so they can survive at the expense of the shareholder, with the reality that I've just described. At the end of the year, the shareholder will say, I gave you capital, where's my return? And at Absa Kenya, we've done about 60 billion shillings, which is over 30% of our balance sheet, to provide moratoriums or payment holidays at the expense of the shareholder. Now, TK will tell you that you don't have to swing the pendulum all the way. There's a middle ground. But when there are times of pandemic, that's when you realize you have to swing the power one way. And hopefully down the cycle, long term, make a profit for your shareholders. So as a brand, we are at the center of the SME ecosystem. That's why we kind of swung all the way to extend support at the expense of shareholder value. But because we know our future profitability will come from this customer base, and our strategy is very much within the SME ecosystem. I think more practically, what small businesses or consumers or people should do is to reach out who've been part of this journey, and to reach out to the likes of the UN Global Compact, Shared Value Africa Summit, to reach out to ourselves and other institutions that have been in part of this journey for a while. We can learn from each other. We don't have all the answers. But I think fundamentally I'll close by saying we've got to ask ourselves those very deep questions. Why do we really matter? Why should we really matter? What should people really say about us? Where is our true value? Is it the shilling we make at the end of the day? Or is it how people value what we do at the end of the day? Those are deep introspection questions that everybody has got to ask themselves before they reach out for technical support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think you've made a strong argument behind the business case for sustainability. And if I call this the Moses phrase, finance is the oxygen to sustainability. I really like that phrase. Moses mentioned UN Global Compact. So Absa can't do this alone. What's the business case for sustainability? We've got corporates. You mentioned you're a network with very many members. We've got umbrella bodies that look after the private sector, many social actors, government leaders. What's the business case, Judy?
I think, as Moses has ably explained it, it's really in the self-interest of business to really embrace this agenda. And if the COVID pandemic is anything to go by, it has really, proven to us that as businesses, as people, we cannot thrive in a society that is, in distress. And so if we don't pay attention to some of these issues, ultimately we are compromising our own survival and our own ability to thrive and survive and to run successful businesses. So I think really at the heart of sustainability is self-interest of the business, self-interest of all the people in the world. And at the Global Compact, what we strive to do is then, provide companies out there, regardless of the size, Absa to SMEs and even startups and enterprises that are out there, to really understand and appreciate and embrace that they have a responsibility to grow in a way that is inclusive, but also takes into account, greater issues that go beyond the boundaries of their own businesses. And so for us, we are providing a principles-based approach, ensuring that there are fundamental responsibilities that businesses have to meet. And those fundamental responsibilities really are codified just, looking at the 4 key issue areas of human rights, the environment, labor, and anti-corruption, meaning you really cannot do without them. If you're going to be a responsible corporate actor, you have to ensure at the bare minimum that you're really subscribing to these universal values. But then again, going a step further and looking at the Sustainable Development Goals as additional opportunities upon which you can, again, advance your own business goals. So I think really we are moving away from, this debate around the business case for sustainability. Really, the business case is settled. If we look at even the studies that are out there, companies that have, strong performance around their economic, social, and governance and environmental pillars really are the ones that, attract capital at a much lower cost. They have greater operational efficiency. If you look at even just the parameters around staff satisfaction, they record much higher, and they are able to also to attract capital at a much faster and efficient way than those that do not pay attention to these issues. So ultimately, it's really about de-risking the business and de-risking really the world economy. And so right now, I think the conversation we need to move towards to is then how do we ensure that this sustainability really translates into concrete action that delivers impact. And so again, I think the commitments that Absa have made today are just the first step. And so we look forward to seeing how these commitments will be able to, come alive through the different partnerships and collaborations going forward.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So Moses, you've told us finance is the oxygen to sustainability. Judy, you've told us that a principles-based approach that focuses on fundamental rights, and you've said that's human rights, labor, anti-corruption, and environment. If you structure your business and your strategy in a way that you embrace sustainability, you'll automatically tick these social challenges. You've said it needs to be actioned, and Ngwing, this comes to your world. Tiki, this also comes to your world. What's the business case for sustainability, the business case for responsible business?
I would just piggyback on what Judy has said, in that right now we are in an age where business cannot think about profit only. The environment in which we are operating is changing. At B-Lab, what we encourage businesses to do is to choose an impact business model, not just an operating model, right? And what an impact business model means is that in your regular course of activity as a business, you're making decisions that are aligned with your sustainability commitment. So, case in point, we are using recyclable bottles here, right? So you can see that as Absa has committed to walking the sustainability journey, it is in their day-to-day activities as a business that it shows up. Also, we are seeing that people want to work for businesses that have made that commitment, knowing that this business is not going to suck the life out of me as a worker and give me nothing in return, which is what traditional profit-focused businesses have done. And at B-Lab, we are seeing that our B-certified companies are able to attract more talent, top talent, because they are sought out. People are saying, we are seeing the change, especially in this season of pandemic. We are seeing how the world is reacting, and we want to work for organizations that are forward-thinking and organizations that are holistic thinking, right? And so really, our tools enable businesses to take that measurement space. Where am I as a business? So we have, like I mentioned earlier, the SDG Action Manager. We also have a B Impact Assessment Test that takes you through the 5 areas which are similar to what the UN principles cover. So your governance structures, how are you set up? Your workers, what do you have in place to foster a good working environment? The community in which you operate. I like that Absa's suppliers, 90% of them are local, right? So the community benefits from your presence in that community. You're not importing everything and going for suppliers who are outside of your environment, right? So you also think about your supply chain, you think about diversity all across the board, from your workers all the way to the people you buy from. Right? So using our tools will help you as a business if you don't know where to begin. And if you've already begun and you're just making sure that you're on the right track. And if you need an accountability tool which different departments in your organization can plug in, so you can divide and conquer, so that it's not stressful only on a specific department to achieve that. So I would close by saying we are changing. The economy is changing, the world is changing. We can't be profit focused, because at the end of the day, when all the resources disappear, when all the trees disappear, what happens? Your business folds. And then what happens to the generations who are coming behind?
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's quite powerful. If I connect the dots again, starting with Moses, finance is the oxygen to sustainability. Everybody has to think about money. Sooner or later, every business has to think about money. If you think about the money and you bear in mind that principles matter, and that this idea of adhering not only to those principles, but taking care of fundamental rights matters, what I'm hearing from Gwing is that you can be very purposeful in choosing an impact business model. So we have a Moses phrase, we have a Judy phrase, we have a Gwing phrase. And an impact business model, in our world we unpack it as how you deliver value, how you create value, and how you ensure the business and the customer are connected so that the optimal value is achieved. Tiki, if we still have you connected, this time I'll ask us to experiment with something. Maybe if we turn off the video, the connection might remain longer and stronger, Tiki. So we'll just try that, but if it doesn't work, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Great. Tiki, the panel has constantly kept coming back to this idea of social challenges and the idea that at the end of the day, you still need to make money by virtue of being a business. There's this idea of a business model. So fundamentally, any actor who's in business has to think about the bottom line, but it can be done in a creative way where problems are also solved. What would you give as a business case for sustainability in the context of creating shared value?
So I just thank you, Martin. So I just want to go back to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, because that's what shared value is, the tool to implement the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And what we say as a business, you find that social issue that's holding your business back. So what is negatively affecting your business? You find that social issue, and with the Sustainable Development Goals, we've got 16 of them. So we can align with any one of those by identifying that. Then what we have to do from a business perspective, we have to build the business case around it. So we have to ensure that this issue that we want to address, we look at it through a business lens, and we build the business case around it. We do our research, we create our competitive edge, and we make our profit. Because at the end of the day, we as leaders have the responsibility to run sustainable organizations. We have to be able to look at it from a sustainability aspect, and that's what I said earlier on, is that it is about profit. It is about the planet. But most of all, as Nguyen said, it is about the people. Because that is what we have to ensure as leaders, is that we leave no one behind. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Tiki. And for our team that is managing the social media stream, I wanted to open the floor in case there are any questions. I'll check on the screen, and if I see one or two questions for any of the panelists, we're about to get to the 1 hour mark. I'll take your questions as part of the audience. So if you have any questions, anything that has resonated with you, anything for which you wanted clarity, this is your moment to ask. For the panel, I want to leave our audience with something practical. And it could be as simple as come to Waiakiwe and at the reception ask for Moses Mudhui if you're interested in getting started on the sustainability journey. Moses, I want to believe you have teams, so they may not meet you, but you have an entire team behind you that's handling your sustainability strategy. For Judy, it might be a question of come to Westlands near Sarit Center and take this material that we've put together on the UN Global Compact. Nguyen, it might be a question of catch us in the next show we have, or catch us online and go and download that free tool and begin experimenting with it and see what you can do with it. Ticket might be as simple as there's a future event happening, there's a webinar, a conversation where you can learn a little bit more about creating shared value. I would like each of you to leave our audience with a very, very practical next step. And I want to put a twist to this. Moses, we actually here convened courtesy of Jeremy and yourself and your team, including Jane. You've announced something quite ambitious. In the next year, you've actually asked us to hold you accountable for a set of targets. I'm curious, how can we help you? How can everybody who's following us in the audience help you so that when you're reporting on what you've done, it will be a shared success? We will have helped you succeed, but more importantly, you'll have introduced somebody to this interesting journey we are following. What's a practical first step that you would recommend? So I'll start with you, but I'll also give you the last word since we are your guests here. So just one practical step. I'll go to the rest, and I'll come back to you at the very end.
Look, I think, Martin, for us is the realization that we've taken time to get here. And the reason we've taken time to get here is because we didn't know what we did not know. And developing this report took a collaborative effort with many people, introspecting on what we do as a company, putting it on the table, asking the tough questions, who's really got the power? Is it the shareholder, the customer, our employees? Who is it, right? And so I think the first thing I would encourage anyone who is interested in embarking on this journey is to go to our website and read this report, www.absabank.co.ke. And in there, you'll see how we've crafted our commitment and the people we've worked with to craft that commitment. So I think that's the first thing I'd encourage people to do. Okay. I think more simplistically is actually every day to just try to be better than the day that's gone by. Just try to be a little bit better than how you were yesterday in everything you do. And I think for me, it cannot be inspired by anything else than trying to be better every single day than the way you were yesterday in everything you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go to the Absa website, navigate to the page that has this report, download it and read it, but have a philosophy of continuous improvement. Every single day, challenge yourself. How can you be better than you were yesterday? Okay. And I'll come back to you for another closing comment. Judy, something very practical. What should our audience do? A very practical next step.
Yeah, Martin, it's as easy as just committing to join the UN Global Compact. So as I said, we are a global movement, a local movement, a regional movement for companies that, share common values for, the society. And so it's as easy as you just going to our website, unglobalcompact.org, and just accessing the participant engagement tab and really putting in your application to join. Then you would, plug into a local chapter where we come together with other like-minded businesses to help you really think through at a very practical level what really then you would translate your sustainability commitments into practical action. We are also a platform where you can come again to network, again advance your own business goals through a platform where we have a wide range of businesses from various sectors, various sizes, and just various levels of experience in their sustainability journey. But we are also the voice of business to the UN. So we bring the voice of the business community to the world stage around the issues that we are struggling with right now as a country and also as a global community. So I'd encourage any SME that's out there. It's really not an agenda for the big boys. It's really for all of us, because every little contribution counts, and every little action that any company can take will really help us move closer to achieving the SDGs by 2030.
Thank you, Judy. So the roughly 50 plus suppliers we are working with in the training offering that Absa has put together, a message to them will be contemplate joining, consider joining the Global Compact.
That's right.
And it sounds like if it does that, it will also help Absa meet a follow-up target. Ngwing, a practical, simple next step.
Go online, search for SDG Action Manager, access the tool, and begin to measure your baseline. So that's one. Secondly, you can go to our website, that's b-labafrica.net. You can see the other tools that you can use for your business, and I mentioned before, these tools are free, and they are online, you don't have to download them. And begin to take the impact assessment tests just to see how you're doing as a business. And this is for businesses with 1 employee and above. So like Judy said, you don't have to be a huge company like Absa to do that. And we find that if you start at the foundation level, you grow on your sustainability journey.
Thank you. And because you talked about choosing an impact business model, I actually have my business model creation and evaluation students, about 60 plus, actually 80 plus of them. And that's an important message for them. They should go look for that piece of software that you've discussed, master it, because ultimately I'm anticipating, Moses, for part of your supply chain, they'll actually help equip those businesses. And when they become members of the Global Compact, we will start building an ecosystem where that skill can be extended. Tiki, next step, practical step, something that you'd encourage our audience as we hit the 1 hour mark?
Thank you. So I want to quickly just quote what Caroline said in the beginning. She said, the only impossible journey is the one that you never begin. And I want to also say what Nelson Mandela said, that it always seems impossible till it's done. And with that, I want to add that shared value is all inclusive. So the next practical step for you as an organization, for you as an entrepreneur, go and visit our website, www.svai.africa. Have a look at what shared value is about. Watch out for the next Strathmore Business School Shared Value course, which will happen next year. And I think if you want to start your journey, please reach out. We're there to help you, as all of the panelists said today as well. It is about collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Because it's only if we collaborate can we really bring about positive social impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiki, and I think you've put a big smile on my Executive Dean, Dr. Njenga, and my Deputy Executive Dean, Dr. Ndunge. Thank you for that plug. Moses, I want to give you the last word, and I want you to be philosophical, and I want you to be pragmatic. It's not a tall task. I think you're up to the task. Your CEO today spoke something very profound. We all saw you on stage here beaming and smiling. Yep. I think this is a momentous occasion. We had government represented at the highest levels. I'm representing academia, probably not at the highest levels, but I'm channeling my executive dean and deputy executive dean. And we've got ecosystem actors also at the highest levels. I want you to give us a closing thought that captures this moment.
No, thank you. First of all, is to say thanks to Judy, Gwyn, TK, yourself, Martin, for gracing this occasion. I think for me, perhaps the way to close is to say that I personally struggle with this classification of stakeholders. You know, shareholders, customers, employees, government, right, society. At the end of the day, they're just people with the aspirations and dreams. And it's that basic essence of we are all people who have aspirations and dreams that centers the argument of shared value. Because you no longer think about profit. Remember, at the back of that profit is a person who is a shareholder. You never think about planet, because at the back of that planet is habited by societies who are people. You never think about employees and how you reward them, because they're people with dreams and aspirations. So for me, is how we draw a single line across and say, we exist for people. We exist because we are people. We exist to help people achieve their aspirations and dreams. It's idealistic to strike the balance, as I said. But every day, we make a step towards that progress of striking the balance. That we never have to think about shareholders and customers, and employees, and government, and society, that we are just all people with aspirations and dreams. And if every day we wear that lens, it becomes an easier conversation in the boardrooms, where you don't have to make an expense decision at the expense of society, or a shared value decision at the expense of shareholders. We're all people. I hope that's philosophical enough.
Actually, very philosophical. I wanted to
close
everybody with food, and I could see Judy, I could see both of them and Gwyn, they were nodding, and yeah. I think you've spoken very philosophically. He's broken it down well. Huh? Yeah, so thank you very much to the panel. I think we have inspired. I think we have informed. I think we have educated. And for Tiki, do pass our regards to your team out in South Africa. Thank you for joining us, and apologies for the connectivity issues, but I think you are able to communicate strongly and profoundly. And we look forward to being invited again a year from now, Moses, on behalf of Jeremy, to hear where this journey has gone. Thank you very much. Next, we are going to have a set of videos. And we are going to hear from two practitioners. One called Clovers, where we'll hear from Linda Kibandi, and Pest Mastic, Abel Karaoke, where we can begin hearing some of these ideas we've been discussing coming to life through entities that are already embracing this philosophy of sustainability and practicality. And I'll hand back to Elizabeth to take us through the rest of the program. Thank you very much to the audience. We've really appreciated your joining us for this session. Goodbye.
Pestmatic is a public health organization dealing with pest control and hygiene. and we've been in the business for 20 years now. As a business person, you want to make sure that people relate with your business. This is making sure that each and every part of your business, through the whole process, is well thought about and is actually geared towards something. We also need to look at the social aspects that come along and in the environment that we live in. I was introduced to SDGs in a seminar organized by Absa that was held at Movenpick, and that is when I really got to know about them. Of course, I had heard about them before, but this is the time when really it got close to me and paid some attention to it. It has been an interesting journey, and I would say that you know, even then it was very clear that this is not something that you go rushing into. It's something that needs some thought. It's something that needs deliberate actions, and for me it's been about getting to understand the SDGs more, this being part of the reason why I joined the training, and also getting to identify which particular SDGs that we will be able to adopt as a company and incorporate in our policies. The training at Strathmore has been quite interesting, and interacting with the material, getting to understand SDGs more from people who actually have interacted with them more has been quite good for me, and I've really appreciated going through the coursework, the 4 modules, and I would say yet I'm not a pro yet, but I'm still learning a day at a time. When you talk about an SDG and you want to bring it in as a policy within the organization, I think the first step is having the people you're working with on board. So first of all, we've tried to make our employees understand what SDGs are, and also told them how they can help us achieve these SDGs. SDGs are huge goals, and simple steps could help towards achieving those goals. We are sort of, though still not yet concrete, identifying with 3 SDGs, and that is SDG 1 that talks about no poverty, SDG 3 that talks about health and good well-being, and SDG 8 that talks about decent work and economic growth. We have regular trainings, and through these trainings we are being able to talk about these SDGs. And in fact, getting to decide on which SDGs we were going to settle on has been influenced by the response we get from our employees during these trainings. As an organization, we would want to be in a position where we have influenced not just our suppliers, but also our value chains. If we deliberately make actions or make decisions towards these SDGs, then we will have tried to improve the society that we are living in.
Clovers has been in operation since 1978, earning it over 30 years of experience in this field. We offer total staffing solutions, for example, recruitment, selection, training, to say the least. I first learned about the SDGs in some article in the newspaper a while back, but at that time it didn't really, it didn't pique any interest in me because I really didn't know what these SDGs were all about. When I first got the email from Absa about the training, that's when I was like, let me find out what this training is all about before I actually enroll for it. So I went, Googled about it, read the 17 SDGs, And I was like, this is probably something good for me and for clovers. This training takes you from a different way of thinking and makes you look at life at a very different perspective and at a wider angle. One thing I've learned from these SDGs is that you cannot achieve it alone. So I, in collaboration with my teams, with my colleagues, with the community at large, if we work together towards achieving the SDGs, we'll be able to come up some few steps closer to achieving the SDGs by 2030. Learning about these SDGs has helped me develop insights in the issues that are surrounding our world, and issues like lack of proper sanitation, lack of clean water, gender inequalities. One thing we've already implemented is, before we used to print out contracts, but now we realize that's just it's going against what the SDGs, the goals are trying to achieve. So now we do more of online. We no longer print out contracts, we send to people via email. That's the first thing we actually implemented immediately I learned about the SDGs. Another project we are also trying to do is proper electronic waste. That will, instead of throwing away our outdated technology, we purpose to either donate, do a trade-in, or even sell at a cheaper price, as that would be much, much better than throwing them away. We've become more cognizant when purchasing office materials and also when doing recruitment. This is to ensure that we do not support child labor, we do not support payment below minimum wage, and also we do not take part in ecological destruction that would only take us further from achieving the goals by 2030. We want to start small, so that if we can achieve the small things, I'm sure we can also achieve the big things. The first one will be, of course, the first goal, which is end of poverty. We purpose to provide more job opportunities that will help lift people out of poverty. To improve quality education, we are trying to come up with programs such as internship or graduate trainees that will help students get a feel of the work, of the corporate work environment, even before they get there. The other SDG will be gender inequality. We want to adopt equal remunerations for both men and women who are of the same competency, and also provide decent working conditions for them. And the other one will be clean water and proper sanitation. As Clover's employees, we want to educate others on using water efficiently, and also want to improve our standards of the wash facilities. SDGs are a blueprint to a better future for all of us. It may look like something that doesn't apply to you specifically, but if we all work together towards achieving these goals, it will only take us steps closer to achieving these goals by 2030.
Fantastic, fantastic. Welcome back. We've had such an amazing panel. We've had such commitment discussed around the day, and no one is being left behind. Definitely you're not being left behind. As a climate champion on a Friday, Furahi Day, definitely we have to celebrate this day. The words of sustainability are now yours. The SDGs are not for national government, local government, they're for all of us. Absa Bank Kenya has shown us that and is inviting you to be part of this journey. I'd like to borrow a few words from someone we should all know. She said this many years ago, the late Professor Wangari Maathai. There are opportunities even in the most difficult moments. And another one that came through today as well. There comes a time when humanity is called to shift to a new level of consciousness. That time is now. I have my copy. Get your copy too, read through it, and so far we've started having some comments back, which already say we are ready for partnership. So from Violet Luchendo, who's online, out of the 10 million trees, can we have about 1 million of those as fruit trees? That is mangoes, oranges, etc. This will enable to give fruits to the differently enabled in the society. Of course, and by that comment, you're already part of this discussion. Another one I'd like to mention as well, Rosemary Mutonke. With only 10 years to go to 2030 with this period now known as Decade of Action, share with us how you plan to demonstrate a sense of urgency that will be evident to customers, employees, and our nation at hand. I think the answer has been shown today. We've been here talking about how Absa Bank Kenya has launched this report about the suppliers who are being trained, and also beyond that, how you can get involved. So for now, I would like to invite Ms. Jane Wayaki Maina to give us some closing remarks on this fantastic day. Welcome on board.
Good morning, all. As we come to the end of the session, it has been our utmost pleasure and honor to have you all as part of the launch of our sustainability report. Let me take this opportunity to sincerely thank Dr. Chris Kipto, the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, for agreeing to grace this occasion as a chief guest. Sir, your presence reaffirms our belief in immense value of private-public partnership. Let me also say a big thank you to all our panelists, Tiki, Nguyen, Judy, Moses, and our moderator, Martin. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and insights and the great partnership from the onset. We will continue walking this journey together. Let me also take this opportunity to thank our board, led by the chairman, Charles Mushene, and the management team, led by Jeremy Awori, for their support and bold commitment in embarking on this important journey. Thank you for standing by our vision to become a purpose-led brand and guiding the business towards more sustainable approach. I also want to appreciate all Absa colleagues, particularly the sustainability champions and the sustainability leads, who are essential components of the vehicle driving the sustainability agenda. Today, sustainability remains our best chance at guaranteeing a successful future for our business. I would also like to thank our sign language interpreter, Agria Karanga, for being part of our launch today and allowing us to be inclusive, thus leaving no one behind. To our very capable MC, Elizabeth Wangeshi Chege, thank you very much for doing such an amazing job. Your partnership you have extended to Absa, both at an individual level and through the Kenya Green Building Society, we appreciate. Last but not least, I would like to thank all my fellow colleagues who have spent the last couple of days ensuring that this day is a success. It is my hope that today's discussion will challenge more organizations to realize that being sustainable is more than nice to have, but a strategic pillar that will determine their future. Finally, I hope that each one of us in this gathering today will embrace sustainability at a personal level as we build the future we aspire to live in. Let's dare each other to be visionary, to be ambitious, to be leaders, because every bit counts. Thank you all once again.
Africa is a continent open to possibility, which comes to life when those with ambition and courage find the right partner, a partner with the tenacity to stand by them and light up a continent. With the experience and unique insights to go beyond limits, Absa Group Limited is that partner. We are synonymous with stability, transparency, and innovative thinking in financial services based on a legacy of 100 years of seamless execution across Africa. Our new brand and growth strategy define how we are shaping our destiny as a proudly African bank, inspired by Africanacity. This is the distinctly African ability to always find ways to get things done. Africanacity is what drives us, what sets the tone for our business, and echoes across our African footprint. Our corporate and investment banking business challenges limits. We close distances, connecting people to opportunities across borders, languages, and cultures. With global connectivity and local differentiation, we operate at the core of your strategy. Our understanding of each unique environment across regulatory and market practices results in a differentiated service and experience for our broad range of clients. Backed by insights into key sectors, we turn risks into opportunities, supported by a unique set of solutions that work across your full value chain. Our clients experience a seamless partnership across Africa, with aligned delivery positioning you for success across operating environments. Because African ingenuity and tenacity go beyond limits, so do we. Our world-class service is based on skills and expertise that have been developed to put our clients first, proven by numerous high-profile deals and coveted international awards. We are brave, we are passionate, we are ready. We are independently African, and we believe in building courageous partnerships that work. When you have the bravery to imagine and the will to get things done, that's Africanacity. That's Absa. Corporate and Investment Banking.